Antonio's Sports Center.
Although there's mutual interest between the Spurs and Kings guard De'Aaron Fox, ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania reports the Kings are reportedly looking for win-now players and draft capital in return for the star guard. The trade deadline is next Thursday. Speaking of the Spurs, they return to action tonight in their first game back from Paris and their final homestand before the rodeo road trip. It starts against the Clippers at 7 tonight in the Frostbank Center.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge. What's up,
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate y'all joining, however that may be. Whether it's on 94.1 on your FM dial, if you happen to be listening at sasportstar.com via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you're watching our show live on YouTube. That is correct. We stream all of our shows live via YouTube. You can check it out on your computer, on your phone, via the app. However you do, just go to YouTube, search SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show as it's happening, or just feel free to call in 210-656 ESPN. That's 210-656-3776. Lots to get into today. More from the De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio rumors, as earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson got to break down about these breaking rumors that put one of the up-and-coming superstars in the NBA in the target hairs of the San Antonio Spurs.
De'Aaron Fox has apparently the Kings are open to trading De'Aaron Fox, and De'Aaron Fox has said his preference is San Antonio. It's not something you would expect to hear because no. San Antonio is not in the playoff mix right now, and normally guys like that, if I'd spent my whole career in Sacramento, I'd be looking for a place where I've got a chance to win something of import.
Yeah,
but I guess he's thinking more on the long term.
There's that tall dude there. Yeah, that kind of helps. And his wife's from here. His skills coach is his wife, Rasay Johnson.
His wife is from San Antonio.
Yeah, she went to high school here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Skills coach. He's from Houston. There's a lot of reasons to come here above and beyond Wemby in the future.
Well, I know he's from Houston, and that's why I was like, well, I mean, if I were Sacramento or if I were De'Aaron Fox, I'd be like, oh, I'd like to play there.
Yeah, but I think that the wife draw is big, but there's certainly Wemby. I mean, my God.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's the first of many, and that's really the question. This is just the first guy to hit on us. This is the first, I'd like to play in San Antonio kind of innuendo that's going to be pretty consistent here for the next couple of years. And I think it's worthy of discussion because this is a dude that I think this year, next year, 3 years from now, we would like to make a deal about. So,
well, De'Aaron Fox is under contract through next season and then is a free agent at age 29.
Mm-hmm.
He's making good money. He's $35 million cap hit this year. He'll be a $37 million cap hit next year.
It's in this world, that's not bad.
It's not bad for a player of that caliber.
Now, with Sacramento has said we're willing to make a move, but we want to not only future considerations, a couple of number ones, I'm sure, but they want playoff ready dudes because as De'Aaron has become available, that means he's been less important to a team that's actually winning a little bit with Doug Christie as their head coach. So they're in a position to try to get good, stay good kind of thing. So
yeah, and that the easy guess is they're talking about Keldon and or Devin Vassell.
Got to figure, and at least that's just the beginning of the conversation.
Devin Vassell's so appealing because his contract is so friendly, which obviously is why the Spurs would probably like to keep him. But the truth is, in my mind, in the NBA, the whole goal when you make a trade is to end up with the best player in the deal. And De'Aaron Fox is a better player than really any Spur not named Victor Wembanyama at this point.
Even though you're absolutely right, but that doesn't mean Stephen Castle's on the table.
He would not
even
be on
though
the
he's
table.
not. That's not going to happen. I think that those are the two untouchables, and that's really where the debate. And I do think it's worthy of consideration because I'm not going to say that Keldon and Devin should go. I think that there's worthy of discussion here, just because I like De'Aaron Fox, but there's a lot of other dudes out there that are going to be available in the next 2 years. And De'Aaron plays a style that might not be absolutely what the Spurs are chasing. He certainly doesn't add to the jump shooting and the 3-point problem.
Another 32% shooter.
Yeah, another bricklayer who can take 4 steps and get a layup. Though you have a lightning offense available to you, but there are some things that might take a little bit more priority. I think it's worthy of discussion. This is a much better conversation to have than the one we were having this time last year with Trey Jones out of Atlanta, where there were enough negatives to
Trey Young.
Trey Young. There are enough negatives to the deal where you could kind of see why the Spurs wouldn't do it. This one, I'm having trouble finding negatives. You know what I mean?
I like it a lot. There's not a lot of guys that are, you said there's going to be other guys available. I don't know how many other guys are going to be available that are 25 points a game that you can get for
$37 million. You're right, man.
Those guys don't grow on trees, and he's still 27, 28 years old. Like, he's still got tread on the tires.
Got 10 years.
It's very interesting, and he's a player, and quite frankly, he's getting better. Like, this is one of his better. That's why I'm surprised the Kings are willing to move on, and it speaks to their depth, sort of. But he's, the last 3. This is consistent as it gets since 2020. 25.2 points per game, 23 and 21, 25 and 22, 26.6 last year, 25.2 this year.
For whatever reason, his time in Sacramento has run out of steam. I don't know if it's Malik Monk showing up and taking minutes, if it's DeMar DeRozan coming and taking some minutes. I don't know what it is. He's done, and that's worthy of question. Why would you want to leave there? I know that Mike Brown was run out of town, but under Mike Brown is when he flourished. When Christie took the gig, he became kind of superfluous. They had other dudes that could do what they wanted to get done.
There's a lot to take in when you're talking about De'Aaron Fox, and the potential of what it costs. And I run into both sides where it's, trade anything and everything, go get him. And you can't part with those Atlanta picks or Stephon Castle or Devin Vassell. All of those things are off limits in a potential trade. And I don't know where y'all lay, but it's, you got to give something, and it's going to hurt a little bit initially in the immediacy to get a player of De'Aaron Fox's caliber. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Mario, welcome into Extra Innings with Pledge, man. What's going on?
Nothing much, Pledge. Hey, I was thinking a trade for De'Aaron Fox. A good value would be Sohan, Keldon Johnson, the Bulls pick, and the Spurs pick for next year, top 5 protected. It doesn't really hurt them as much as.
Yeah, that's great. Why would Sacramento do that trade? I'm getting a Bulls pick that's protected outside, I believe, the top 10. Your own pick, which isn't going to be good if you add a player of De'Aaron Fox's caliber, in all likelihood. And, Sohan and Keldon Johnson are role players.
So, and that's the part that's going to hurt the Spurs is the role players.
It may hurt the Spurs in the short term, but not the long term. But what about that trade is good for Sacramento? That's what you have to ask yourself.
It's a good start. You're not going to get the full value for De'Aaron Fox of picks and players. It just really doesn't work out that way. You're going to have to mitigate, kind of like what they did with Kawhi Leonard.
No, you took lesser to trade Kawhi to Toronto because you didn't want to acquiesce. The fact of the matter is, you could have had Brandon Ingram in that Kawhi Leonard trade, but you didn't want to you didn't want to make Kawhi happy and send him to LA. Josh Hart, the assets you would have gotten from LA were greater than that you got from Toronto, but feelings got in the way.
Yeah, I have no idea what the Lakers had offered for Kawhi. It's been so long.
I mean, those were some of the conversations had, and I appreciate the phone call, Mario. Look, you can say that another team's not going to do that, and just hold the line. I'll get with y'all in just a second. You've got to make it make sense, and by far the best asset you have, and I see this on the YouTube live feed. Queso King says, "What are you on? Vassell is easily a tradable asset." I didn't say Vassell wasn't a tradable asset. You have to part with something that's going to hurt you in order to get something like that. And a lot of fans don't want to part with a Devin Vassell or a Stephon Castle. That's my point. You're going to have to at some point, because guess what? He may want to be in San Antonio, but he also probably does not want to leave $77 million on the table going to free agency. So if a team, I don't know, like Orlando's reportedly has got a lot of interest and has assets to be able to make something work, are you confident in him being traded somewhere else and waiting and leaving all of that money all on the table just to come to San Antonio? From my life experiences, players 99% of the time don't leave money on the table ever. And they will sign an extension wherever and force a trade later maybe, but they're going to get their money in one way, shape, or form. And if some other team steps up to the plate, then you've missed your opportunity to build around Wemby with a competent star. And I know people are saying you can't give up the Atlanta picks. Atlanta's lost a bunch of games in a row right now. You know, the last time the team got back-to-back number one overall picks, it was Orlando in 92-93. They got the number one overall pick last year. And even if you get the number one overall pick and you get Cooper Flagg, what you're doing is you are selling a guarantee of a person that is an all-NBA player already proven in the league for potential. So it'd be like somebody coming up to you saying, I've got $1 million for you right now, or next year you can have this lottery ticket that may be worth $2 million, and there's a 14% chance that it's worth that much. Why would you even take that risk? Take the $1 million. Not when you're still attempting to build this thing out. You can be patient like that when you have the ability to, because your team is already loaded, you're looking for certain pieces. Yeah, then it's okay. But you're basing it on potential. You're basing it on the potential that they will get the number one pick, which is only a 14% chance. You're also basing on the potential that that number one overall pick becomes an all NBA player at some point, which is also a very, very percentage based. Let's say it's 50% that Cooper Flagg is going to be an all NBA player. So you're taking percentage chances. You're rolling the dice and gambling every time you push it off into the future. And those picks, yes, they're valuable. Why not cash in that value for something that you know what it is immediately? This team needs another star player to play along with Wemby. We've seen that other guys haven't been able to step up to the plate when Wemby's having an off night or when Wemby's not playing. They don't have those guys. J4 says a third team must get involved to please Sacramento. Sure, then involve a third team. These are things that have to happen for the San Antonio Spurs. And if you're a fan, understand that Atlanta pick is super valuable. And you're getting something super valuable in return. If you keep pushing everything into the future, look, we've seen it. Losing begets losing. We've seen it in Detroit. We've seen these bad franchises stay bad because they don't know how to win, because the culture becomes losing all of a sudden. The Spurs have been a culture of winning, which has begotten winning. but we haven't been to the playoffs in 7 years here in San Antonio. At some point, you have to start doing things to make it about winning. And the Spurs haven't done a move that makes it about winning in a long time. You can argue Chris Paul may have been the first move that made it about winning in the immediacy, but it's not enough. You need more with this team. Would I like to keep Stephon Castle? Absolutely. Would adding a Stephon Castle take away a draft pick? Sure. But in order to get a player of his caliber, you have to do something. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. More of your phone calls coming up. I know I see y'all calling in. I'm trying to put y'all on hold and get to them. I have to get to them in between things because I am by myself here in the studio. So you just be patient with me. But when we come back, we'll continue more of this discussion, more of your phone calls throughout the show. Plus, Ross Tucker joined the Blitz earlier today talking about the upcoming Super Bowl matchup and the NFL being, is this a bad thing and perception for the league? We'll get into all that as we continue here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Thursday on the Morning Huddle, live from Las Vegas. We're out here for the Benavidez-Morel fight, covering that all week.
Spurs back from Paris, taking on the Clippers. Is De'Aaron Fox a Spur yet? We're going to talk about it. Get here early. The party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The following is a dramatization.
Davis Law Firm. How can I help?
That guy pulled out in front of me out of nowhere. The police are on their way, but I'm really shaken up.
Don't worry. We're going to get you taken care of. You made the right call.
I'm Jeff Davis. If you've been hurt in a car, truck, or 18-wheeler wreck, call Davis Law Firm at 444-4444. We're ready to help day or night, and there's no fee unless we win.
Davis Law Firm, San Antonio.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
It's Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Guys, continue to call in 210-656-ESPN 656-3776. We'll get into some of the concerns the Morning Huddle may have had about a potential De'Aaron Fox trade and what it could mean for the Spurs and the future versions of themselves. But earlier today on the Blitz, Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, former or current analyst for CBS Westwood One, does play-by-play. He ended up joining the Blitz to talk about a lot of things, whether it was the championship weekend, the upcoming Super Bowl matchup, and the idea that the perception around the NFL and it potentially being rigged. Here's a portion of that interview with Ross Tucker a little bit earlier today on the Blitz.
Philly, Kansas City. Let's talk about it. Our good friend Ross Tucker joining us now on the Buyers Barricades guest line. The Ross Tucker podcast, CBS, Westwood One. Hear those games on our station. Ross, appreciate you jumping on. And I want to start with that. You know, you do games on CBS. And last week, you're doing sidelines for the NFC Championship game here on our station and with Westwood One. To go from the booth to the sideline, to go stand out in the cold, do you dread those assignments?
It depends on the weather is the answer. It wasn't too bad. It was actually like perfect. It was like in the 30s. I mean, to you guys, that probably sounds super cold, but in the 30s, I was bundled up. It was great. It was like ideal football weather. I loved it. And it really is cool to be on the sideline sometimes and to experience that. I only do it a couple times a year, and to just see what it's like up close and personal and see how fast those guys are moving and some of the collisions. I love it. It was really cool.
Ross, I've got to ask you about that game in particular. To see a young player like a Jaden Daniels, describe that, will you? Because we watch him on TV, we see him, but to see him perform in person, what is that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think the biggest thing is just how calm he is. You know, how poised he is. You know, I was saying this last week, but there's been a lot of good quarterbacks, a lot of good players, but the reality is some guys like Joe Montana or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, they clearly play their best when it matters the most, right? We see that. We know that. There are other guys that they just don't, you know, and it's nobody's fault, but they just don't play their best when it matters the most. And you know, Lamar Jackson's probably a pretty good example of that, right or wrong. He has not played his best football in the playoffs for the Baltimore Ravens. And so I think that's going to be the most encouraging thing for the Commanders is that Jaden Daniels, he plays his best when it matters the most. I mean, that fourth quarter against Philly in Week 16, the Sunday night game against the Falcons, Week 17, you know, obviously what he did in the playoffs against the Bucks, you know, that last drive, of course, the Lions game. And I thought he played pretty darn well again against the Eagles. I actually thought it was the defense and the guys fumbling that let him down as much as anything else.
Ross Tucker, former Dallas Cowboy, joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. You think, Ross, about watching one of your former teams in Washington. I know you do a lot of work with the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles going back to the Super Bowl, same Super Bowl we had a couple of years ago. But the narrative out there about the officiating. Now, I don't believe any official is on the take, but there is a perception problem in the NFL when it comes to the officials and Patrick Mahomes. For Philadelphia, how much talk in the Pennsylvania area is that this week in leading? Do you think there'll be that kind of talk next week? And as a former player, how much do you think about that in the locker room if you were getting ready to go play Patrick Mahomes, where if you breathe on him, it's going to cost you 15?
Well, I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth, but on the one hand, you don't think about the officiating at all because you can't control it. And whether you think it could be a factor or not, you know that you need to make the plays that need to be made to win the game, like the Bills didn't do. I mean, the Bills had so many chances in that game. The Dalton Kincaid drop and Cole Bishop gets the interception ripped away, and they get stuffed 3 times on quarterback sneaks. The flip side, though, I would say, the one aspect of it you probably do think about is the fact that you got to be really careful when you're around Mahomes and not to get near his head or neck area, not to go low when he slides late or he's going out of bounds. He might be the best I've seen at being able to find a way to draw the foul. You go back to that Houston game, he gets hit by Will Anderson, not that hard. He snapped his head back like he got whiplash in a car accident going 65 miles an hour. And I think that's what really drew the foul there. And then later on, he saw 2 defenders converging on him. He just dropped his butt at the last second. He just dropped down. He's just very, very good, I would say, at knowing how to draw the penalty. So I think if you're the Eagles, you really got to be conscious of that. You got to be very, very careful of that you don't want to give the officials a chance to throw a penalty flag like that.
Ross, I'm curious what you think, because Jason and I have been talking about this all week. The NFL and a lot of fans believe that the Kansas City Chiefs have the refs in their pocket. I don't believe that that's true, but that seems to be the perception. Is that a problem for the NFL?
I think it is, in the sense that perception is reality. I think, the AFC Championship game just was the best rated championship game since like 88 or something. So I don't think they would say this out loud, but on some level, and you guys obviously have that Dallas Cowboys flag in your studio there. On some level, any publicity is good publicity, and controversy sells. And so if people watch the Chiefs because they love them, or they love Taylor Swift, or because they hate them and want them to lose, then that's probably good for the NFL. So I don't think it really hurts them that much. And to me, like, this whole conversation of people like that, these conspiracy theories, I think are like embarrassing. Well, I just want someone to tell me, how does it unfold? Like, where's the meeting where they say, hey, in a situation like this, give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt because of betting? That's ludicrous. Because of Taylor Swift and ratings, I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit more reasonable. But again, you don't think that would get out? You don't think that, like, people would somehow know that if they have these meetings with these refs? Like, I just think it's crazy.
Ross Tucker joining us here on the Blitz. Now, you mentioned Taylor Swift. Is she going to get proposed to? I know you know her and her family and all that from your hometown, Ross. Is Travis going to propose to her after he wins the Super Bowl next Sunday?
I have no idea. and if I did know, I sure as heck wouldn't say it on the radio in San Antonio. That would surprise me. That doesn't really seem like it's her style. But I don't know, man. I have no idea whatsoever. Zero inside information as it relates to look. I think there's like people who their whole job for like People Magazine. I think their whole job is to try to find that information out. I'm not going to know just because she lived where I lived till she was like 14 or 15 and then moved to Nashville.
Ross Tucker of CBS Sports Westwood One, NFL game analyst, and of course, former NFL player. You can catch that whole interview. He had some great stuff about Brian Schottenheimer playing for Marty, the type of coach he may end up becoming in Dallas. Check that out in the audio vault, powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. When we come back, though, we talked about Fox, San Antonio rumors. Your phone calls 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Plus, the Morning Huddle talked about potential concerns about bringing De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio. That's all coming up here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1.
Hey guys, it's AJ from the Morning Huddle. Between us, when you hit a certain age, things start to feel a little off, right? You're tired all the time, your energy's low, maybe even your drive isn't what it used to be. And a lot of that comes down to testosterone. And trust me, it can happen to the best of us. That's where Game Day Men's Health comes in. They know how we feel, and they make it easy. Game Day Men's Health is over there on Bassey Road across from the quarry. Their office has a relaxed man cave vibe, and they've built a 3-step process that's quick and designed just for us. First, get your T levels checked. Free testosterone test at their in-house lab. Then you meet with a licensed provider to create a customized plan. And finally, you'll get those fast weekly treatments. After a month, you're going to notice a difference. More energy, better mood, and a kick in your libido. Don't settle. Be the best version of yourself. Call Game Day Men's Health, 210-900-3691. That's 210-900-3691. Feel better, be better at Game Day.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-9603, 800-505-9603, 800-505-9603.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text HOT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text HOT to 42424. That's HOT to 42424.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
George gets justice. When you've been injured, you need to get George Salinas Injury Lawyers, because you need someone who understands your pain and the impact an accident has on your life. You need someone who listens and is always there fighting for you and your future. When you get George Salinas Injury Lawyers, you get all this and more. If you've been injured, it's time to get George. And remember, you won't pay anything unless they win your case. Call George Salinas at 210-225-0909. George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is AJ Hoffman from the Morning Huddle. Join me and Rob Thompson tomorrow morning at 6 for the perfect ride to work on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, Rob Thompson, AJ Hoffman talked about some of the concerns of the Fox trade. Plus, do you have any concerns? Cost, what it should take to get it, what it shouldn't take? Would you be more excited about Project Marvel if this De'Aaron Fox trade goes through? Or are you happy waiting and seeing everything go through at its own pace? Your phone calls 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. But as the Morning Huddle discussed, concerns in trading for De'Aaron Fox?
My one concern is this is the move that I think you make when you're closer to ready.
You're right. I don't think that's in the offing, but look down the road, say in 4 years, and you go, okay, what are we going to need to be a title contender? Well, we know we're going to need 3 of the 5 things. We know we have to have 3 of them. And one of them could be or couldn't be a point guard. But if it's not a point guard, it's going to have to be a lead guard that's going to do a little bit of everything, which is really Pop's druther anyway. We also know we're going to need some kind of beef, whether it be a big old 6'9" raw bone kind of rebounder or a 7-footer, somebody in the post.
Yeah.
And then we need the counterpart to it, depending on which way we go. That's what we want to have when we're chasing the title. And I'm not talking about bench help or anything else. I'm just talking about the start. And De'Aaron Fox would be in that conversation. So do you want to get him now and lock him in and just take, well, that's one less thing because you're going to pay for him. You're going to get him relatively cheap, but in a year, next summer, we're going to go through the nose for him. He's going to be a $50 million player. Good news is Wemby's still cheap.
Yeah.
So you can make that decision knowing full well, you add him now, suddenly your draft stock, those number ones, not going to be a lot of ping pong balls there. You're going to be drafting lower. So that will affect your future, and it might not be worth the squeeze to get him now because the team's not ready. I think it's part of the discussion.
And I think the price also has to be the question. This is one of those things where De'Aaron Fox would prefer to be traded to the Kings or to the Spurs, but are the Spurs able to offer the best package is the question.
Well,
and
long-term, yes. There's nobody can offer more first-round draft picks than the Spurs.
Right. But first-round draft picks don't help the Kings right now.
And they have said that just as much. They're not rebuilding. They want to get playoff-ready players now and some future considerations. So the match is so perfect. I think that's why not only is the innuendo, and I guess it's true from the Clutch Sports and Rich Paul side of things, that it was leaked that it's coming to San Antonio. I don't know if it's because of just Wemby, but you combine Wemby with the vast amount of money the Spurs will have in free agent money, and then along with the 10 number ones over the next decade. I mean, we fill every bill. So that goes to the other thing. The Spurs are going to be considered for every player that's relevant to the Spurs, not Butler and not those guys. So everybody that comes up over the next couple of years until the Spurs make that big move, we're going to be first in line. So do you want to jump at the first thing?
Well, and the other thing is, when I talk about making the best offer, the other possibility that you mentioned earlier is getting a third team involved, a team that would value those draft picks more and probably has some more ready-made players that they could send to Sacramento. We've talked about what's the big man's name for Chicago?
Not Vooch.
That's who I'm talking about. They said they want to trade him. That guy could help Sacramento.
Yeah, there's a lot out there now. And the good news about the Spurs, just like last year, is we can sit back and be pretty discerning. And the good news here about that discerning thing is this is not in the Spurs DNA. A big blockbuster trade involving future draft picks and dudes. Only time we've ever done it is when we forced to. I mean, we actually had to make the deal with DeMar or the whole thing would have collapsed. So the good news is they've done it and pulled the trigger and dealt with the ramifications. The bad news is they didn't want to do it and probably don't want to do it again.
This is the positive of it. De'Aaron Fox saying he wants to play for the Spurs is so great because now other teams are probably less likely to throw the moon at Sacramento because he's only under contract for one more year. and then he can just walk away and sign in San Antonio. If that's where he really wants to be, he can sign here and the Spurs lose no assets.
Absolutely.
Now
you're playing chicken, though. I mean,
but if I'm another team, I'm scared to give up a lot if I know I'm only getting this guy for a year and a half.
Absolutely. And the Spurs, this is the kind of deal that you wait until the literal, when's the deadline? 4:00, 3:45. We got to decide. I literally don't make that decision until I absolutely have to, just in case on the other side of this, Sacramento's expecting a bunch. I never offer much. And at the last second, they go, okay, we'll take that lesser offer just to ensure that this guy who's guaranteed not to play this year, you think he's mad now, wait till he doesn't get traded.
I read a story about like possible trades, like possible guys that could be in trades, and we'll go over some of them in the next hour. But I read this and I was surprised. It said, if the asking price is, say, Stephen Castle, salary filler, and 3 first-rounders, it says Brian Wright would likely pull the trigger. That's surprising.
Well, because that's cheap.
It is, but man,
Stephen
Castle is an asset, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say this. Pop did trade George Hill way back when. And he said in the past that was the hardest thing he'd ever done as a pro. So they have in the past traded a very good young pro to go get something for the future or immediacy. And that would be the cheapest way to get De'Aaron Fox, would be giving up Steph Castle. It really would be.
I think that would be a mistake.
But I do think you're cutting off some future value there. I really do.
Because, like I said, because this team doesn't seem ready to compete right now. Castle's a guy I want to see what he can develop into.
Yeah, and we already know he's going to be an all-star. I think it's in the DNA. It's in the performance. He has no fear. He is good at the things that most rookies aren't, and there's some things that most rookies are bad at that he is bad at. But he's the second best, third best rookie out there. You don't just give that up lightly. But
you don't give it up lightly, and it's going to be very tough if I'm to part with Stephon Castle. Got Garza asked on our YouTube live feed, what if the Spurs got the Hawks involved? Send the Hawks pick back to them, and then send Trae Young to Sacramento. Spurs get Fox. I mean, sure. I have no issues with that. If the Hawks are ready to move off of Trae Young, if Trae Young is willing to want to accept the potential of going to Sacramento to play, because Trae Young's got to say it. I believe his contract runs out next year as well. So would they be in the same boat with Trae Young as they are with De'Aaron Fox right now? I think they're trying to make room for Devin Carter. So what is bringing another point guard to start back in the mix do for them? I think they want to get bigger up front. It's very interesting how this is all going to unfold and whether you get a third team involved in or not, because it's going, half of Spurs Nation's going to hate it because whoever their favorite player is got given up in it. The other half's going to love it because they got a potential and future all-star to build around with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. A lot of people are going to be mad if those Atlanta Hawks picks are involved in this trade or any trade going forward, because they believe that those are the future, whether it's Trey Johnson or Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey or whoever it may be that's in this draft that's your favorite prospect. David Macias says, unless you have a magic ball that predicts the future, you don't know what position you'll be in future drafts. You have to use those assets while you have them. I agree. Like I said, it's trading guaranteed for projections. You're trading it for a bona fide all-star, all-NBA player on his resume, playing at that level. That is what's on the table. And what you're giving up is the future of Devin Vassell. And every year that goes by, that ceiling gets lower and lower on Devin Vassell. And a lot of people are seeing the same things we're seeing, which is why some people still want to involve Devin Vassell in trade talks, because he's starting to reach that ceiling. Steph Castle, ceiling's way up here still. Could be this. Could level out along the way. The way Keldon did. So you never quite know. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to get in on the conversation on the other side, right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Thursday on the Morning Huddle, live from Las Vegas. We're out here for the Benavidez-Morel fight, covering that all week.
Spurs back from Paris, taking on the Clippers. Is De'Aaron Fox a Spur yet? We're going to talk about it. Get here early. The party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Mornings 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
GiveMeTheVin.com salutes an engineering marvel. German engineer Carl Benz patented the first practical automobile powered by an internal combustion engine on this day in 1886. Nobody buys more Mercedes-Benzes than Give Me the VIN because we're not afraid to put you on the money, even those high-end classics, with a process that's AAA rated by the Better Business Bureau. They don't call us America's best car buyer for nothing.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online, mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Hey guys, Jason Minix here from The Blitz. Have you avoided getting your T levels checked? Why continue to live with low energy or low libido potentially caused by low testosterone? Make a New Year's resolution and go to Synergenics. Their personalized TRT goes beyond standard treatments, and they have GLP-1 weight loss options as well. For current patients, Synergenics offers a $150 referral credit whenever you refer a new patient. Get started. Book your appointment at synergenicshealth.com. SYNERGENX health.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply or play. Stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text HOPE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text HOPE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text HOPE to 200-300. That's HOPE to 200-300. HOPE to 200-300.
Taxes was waiting around for your taxes to be done, which led to worrying about not getting any money back. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes in a day to get you up to $4,000 fast with a refund advance loan. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Expert filing only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Refund advance has $0 loan fees and 0% APR. Refund advance loans may be issued by First Century Bank, N.A. or WebBank. Terms apply. Subject to approval.
What's up, football fans? BetMGM is giving you the chance to win up to $250,000 in bonus bet credits. It's all part of BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot, where you could be able to split the grand prize with anyone else who bet on the longest touchdown of the week. Log into your BetMGM account today and opt into the promo. Then place an anytime touchdown wager of $10 or more on the player of your choice, up to one player per game. If your player scores the longest touchdown of the week, you'll win a share of the $250K in credits. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada. BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot subject to rules. See BetMGM.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are unrestricted rewards credits that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
In a world
world that moves a million miles a second, Haagen-Dazs invites you to slow down and savor every delicious bite. Take it one almond at a time with a Haagen-Dazs Vanilla Milk Chocolate Almond Bar. Madagascar vanilla, rich milk chocolate, and toasted California almonds make this unmatched icon legendary. Whatever Dazs you savor, a snack bar or your favorite flavor, say goodbye to the fast life and hello to savoring the finest ingredients and the richest and creamiest ice cream. That's Dazs, available at retailers nationwide.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hour.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. As David Macias says on our YouTube feed, unless you have a magic 8-ball. Look, I said earlier in the show, you can't predict where they're going to lose. The last time somebody won back-to-back number one overall picks was 92-93 Orlando Magic, and it wasn't weighted the same back then as it is now. The Hawks won it last year, and at best you're getting a 14% chance if you end up with one of the worst three records. So by passing on a De'Aaron Fox, you are passing on a proven NBA, all-NBA commodity for the potential of landing a top pick with one of these Atlanta picks, if that's what you covet. And then the potential of that pick actually working out and becoming better than the player you are actually trading for. It's trading guaranteed money for a lottery ticket with a percentage of a chance of a percentage of a chance. Which, if you were to go normal route, that is a horrible way of doing business. These assets are here for a reason. You might as well use them and get something to kickstart the Victor Wembanyama era. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure. I am James Pleasure. I appreciate all y'all for riding along with me tonight, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1.
Adam Schefter here with Vivid Seats. We've got some late-breaking news coming out of the stands. According to multiple sources, Vivid Seats fans are scoring rewards on every purchase and at a rapid pace. Obviously, these rewards are a game changer. Coupled with their MVP-worthy ticket selection, why get tickets anywhere else? Don't drop the ball this season. Shop with Vivid Seats and earn rewards on every ticket. And as the official ticketing partner of ESPN,